update from the town on COVID. I see that Jim is in the process of connecting.
Hi, Bill. I heard your last comments. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, no problem. Our pleasure. So what do you have for us tonight, Jim?
Nothing. We continue to work through it. I don't know if Melissa let you all know. Melissa's still 11 active cases, or Trish? We still got 11?
So now we're up to 12 active cases.
Oh, okay. So they're doing an excellent job, and I gotta say, Melissa and Trish dealt with some fun people over the weekend, and they did an excellent job handling difficult people. So I want to give them a shout out. They're put in a tough spot, and for the most part, they're messengers, and Trish has just been unbelievable. So I want to thank her. And Melissa agrees, and so does Rika.
I can only imagine, Jim. I can only imagine.
But we're lucky to have the three of them and Jen too. So as far as everything else, we're gearing up for town meeting. We're going to have a town meeting on the football field again. Melissa and Trish have been completely involved as far as planning and everything. I think it's going to be easier this time around, just because we've done it once. We kind of have the protocols in place, but this time we'll be dealing with EEE also at the same time. But fortunately, we're still low level awareness on that one, right, Melissa? Okay. And so we're gearing up for that. Planning board is actually going to host their public hearing on the zoning articles outside on a Tuesday night. So that'll be interesting, but plenty of bug spray, and the lights will be on in the tennis courts. So it'll be a unique experience. Everything about this year has been unique. And for the most part, that's really about it. Obviously, the school's dealing with a couple of different issues. They've been working closely with the Board of Health on everything. And it's good to see that everybody's on the same page, not only on the same team, but also on the same page. And we're working collaboratively with them. We don't go a day without talking, all of us. So it's working out pretty well. That's really it for me. I just haven't been on in a while. I figured I'd just pop in and say hello.
Well, appreciate you doing that.
Melissa, did I miss anything?
No, Jim, I think
Bill,
you did
can I put in my 2 cents worth?
Of course.
I would like to say something.
I would like to speak also for Kathy Garvin. Kathy Garvin is the head nurse, and she is putting up with a lot of negativism from parents and faculty members, and she is certainly holding down the fort. And so I would like to give her a lot of credit for what happened this past weekend, and she also had a family tragedy this past weekend. So let's put a hurrah and thank you to Kathy Garvin as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you, Karen.
Absolutely. All right.
That's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jim, for your update and for all of your efforts during this very strange time that we're in.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right. Next on our agenda is approval of the minutes from August 25. I did have a question on the minutes. I think at the top of the minutes, it says that Dr. Bringhurst was absent, but at the bottom of the minutes, Dr. Bringhurst was making the motion to adjourn.
Right.
So either he was with us or he wasn't with us.
So I believe from my notes, he was not with us, so we'll revise those.
Okay. So I'm not sure who made the motion to adjourn. Does anyone specifically recall?
I think I have Bill and Mona.
I mean, I looked at my notes and I did not make a note as to who made the motion.
Could it have been Richard Beauregard?
No, I think you did, Bill. Didn't you?
Yeah.
It's entirely possible, but I don't specifically recall. But I mean, certainly
I
we
have
could.
Bill, and then Mona, you seconded it.
Oh, okay, then that would be the only change that I had to the minutes, was that Dr. Bringhurst did not make the motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I didn't even notice.
Is there anything else on those minutes?
I didn't find anything.
The one thing that I questioned was the way it's lined up. Don't we usually have the update for the approval of the minutes? If you look at your minutes, you'll see that it says the approval of the minutes is before the weekly COVID update. So shouldn't they be reversed?
Yes, they should be, because the COVID update is the first agenda item. You're right, absolutely right, Carol. I didn't even key in on that, so good eyes. So just need to
The eyes are working.
just need to reorder the minutes there. Any other changes, corrections, additions, or deletions?
I think it looks great otherwise. And I love all the way that things are listed about, in order to have a variance, to have a pool, on a pool are very good. I like all those. Adults should not swim alone. That's wonderful.
Then we'll entertain a motion on the minutes for August 25.
Okay, so I'll make a motion in regards to the minutes from the August 25th, 2020 meeting. The Board of Health approves the minutes as amended.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Or aye? Opposed? Abstained? 4-0-0. We have a 7:40 appointment, so we're a little early on that. Animal permit for Alma Road, 6 chickens.
So there's no concerns with this animal permit. John Spillane was on site, thought the setup looked good. You have a copy of all of the paperwork.
Mm-hmm. No, so I saw the pictures of the chicken coop and the diagram of where things are going to be, and the manure plan seemed to be reasonable. If John Spillane doesn't have any issues, then I know I certainly would not. Are there any questions or concerns from anyone on the board?
So were the abutting neighbors notified?
All of the abutters were notified, correct?
They were, okay.
All right, then we'll entertain a motion on the animal permit.
Okay.
I'll make a motion regarding the animal permit for on 5 Alma Road. The Board of Health has no concerns and fully approves.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Is there further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
4-0-0 on that. We have 7:45 Planning Board, New World Estates on Peach Street. They want to take 3 lots and make it 5.
Yeah, so if you saw attached to the packet, you can see how they're planning to divide those lots into 3. It was a revised preliminary subdivision. The original was sent out in April, but it's the first time that we have seen it. And really the only change in the plan is that they're going to create a road to those 5 lots.
Right.
Before there's Mrc Way, which was created, that went in front of the board, I want to say maybe in 2016, where they were dividing 2 lots on Peach Street there. And so they were going to make changes to Mrc Way to get to these new lots, but they're proposing a new road there. The only thing, and so there's going to be, the plan show town water and sewer being run down that proposed road. The only thing that I did not see in the proposal was what they would do for trash pickup. Additionally, one of the lots, part of it does lie within the 100-foot wetland buffer zone.
Right. If they run a new road in there, are they going to look to have that be accepted by the town as a street, so there'd be trash pickup, or is it going to be a private road and they're going to have to drag everything down to the end, or we don't know yet?
We don't know yet what it's going to be. There will be a chance that it will be considered a private road, so that they would have to bring it down, or they would have to get their own trash pickup. But that's one thing that would need to be clarified.
Right. So if it's a private road, they would still be able to get town trash, but they just would have to bring it down to Morrissey? Is that it? Or would they have to arrange for their own services?
No, they would be able to bring it down to Peach Street.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think with the exception of the one lot that's going to be within the 100-foot buffer zone, I guess we would use our usual or our new verbiage for construction within the 100-foot buffer zone with the, best practices for mosquito control and so forth and so on. Yes.
So this is a preliminary, this is a subdivision, so this is the one you have to either approve or deny. So if you
Okay.
are approving, I would definitely put that as a, deciding factor, obviously.
Okay. All right, then I'll make a motion regarding the New World Estates that the Board of Health approves the preliminary subdivision with the comments that, or with our standard comments now for building within the 100-foot buffer zone, mosquito control, coordinating with Norfolk County mosquito control folks, et cetera. And that depending on whether or not the access to this subdivision is considered to be a private road, they may very well have to be aware of bringing their trash and recyclables down to Peach Street. If it's going to be an accepted street, then that obviously would become moot. Does that make sense? Yes?
Wow, that's quite a boy,
Well,
there's a lot of work here.
I shouldn't say hopefully all of these comments are in word processing somewhere where you can just cut and paste them into the motions.
We do say them frequently, yes.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, motion is made in second. Is there further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, 4-0-0. And we have a ZBA request for comment, special permit 979 Main Street. They're adding some apartments to an existing building.
Yes, so this, I believe it used to be the Bank of America. It's right across from, is that Stone Street, on the corner of West. And
Yep.
they're gonna be building up. So unfortunately, there was an error in viewpoint and getting this plan to us. So when we saw this plan in August, but they needed comments before a Board of Health meeting. So we made comments on the health department, on the board's behalf. The health department made comments. And I put that in the packet about adding bike racks, making sure there's appropriate lighting outside. And one of the requests was there's going to be 8 apartment units going in, and that it would be 1 parking spot per unit instead of the normal 2 per unit. So what we also put in a comment about adequate parking. So now this is coming in front of us again because the plan has been approved, but it was brought to the ZBA's attention that because they're going to be enlarging the building, that they technically need a special permit approval to do that. So this is in a way a formality for the enlargement of this building.
So we would just want to reiterate the comments that were already made in terms of parking and lighting and bike racks. Are there sidewalks in the area?
So yes, there are sidewalks in
Okay.
the area. And then the only additional thing would be it's going to be a multi-unit building, so they would have to provide their own trash and recycling.
Okay.
So this is in the place of the building where Bank of America was, or this is going on top of the building?
So it based on the
'Cause I-
proposed plan of what it looks like, it's going to be in the building, but they're going to add on to it. So they're not going to be tearing it down, but they're going to be building onto it.
So is it just going to be residential, or will there still be commercial on the ground floor?
So commercial on the ground floor,
Okay.
and then 8 on the second and third floor. It's going to be 8 1-bedroom
Gotcha. Okay.
So the original building is in good shape, because I remember when Bank of America shut down, one of their reasons was that they were gonna knock down the building for whatever reason, that it wasn't in good condition. So like if they're building on top of that building, that means there's nothing wrong with that building, right? Even though
Or they're going to be doing significant repairs. Just based on the images of the plan, the proposed plan, it looks like they're going to be using at least the exterior, the facade of the building. I don't know what additional work will be done on the inside in addition to building up on it.
And there's going to be 4 one-bedroom apartments on each floor?
8 one-bedroom.
Well,
Oh, yes,
yeah.
4 on each floor. Yep.
Each on each, okay. And they're gonna be using the parking lot behind?
That building doesn't, if I remember correctly, that doesn't seem to be an awfully big footprint. Or is it just, does it go far back? Is it from the street, it's not a particularly big building.
And so they're going to be building up.
Right, but I
to the
mean,
apartments.
in terms
To have
of,
4.
in terms of the square footage of the footprint, sounds like those might be pretty small one-bedrooms.
Yeah.
See what
It's
the square-
4,000 square feet.
4,000 is the building?
4,000 shows.
1,001 level?
The whole footprint's 4,300 square feet.
Oh.
No, that's surprisingly large, because from the street it must go back a bit, because from the street it doesn't look like it's that wide, but.
I mean, it's the
Okay.
whole, yeah, and the bank had a big area for safes. So,
Oh, okay. No, so, it's 4 one-bedroom units at about 1,000 square feet a unit. That's reasonable. Okay. Any concerns that we need to address, other than what was already mentioned in terms of the bike rack and lighting and so forth?
I don't think so.
Trash.
Yeah,
So-
trash. Nothing
Who
additional.
would like to make a motion on that one?
Just had a question about the parking lot. There is a parking lot behind that Bank of America. Are they gonna use the same one to assign it to people, or it's?
Yep.
So they're not gonna be adding, like, if they're not gonna,
Right, they'll be using the parking lot behind, and there's 8 spots that they've designated there, 1 for each unit.
okay.
It doesn't seem, well, I mean, that's fine for the person that's living there, but if you've got any guests, you're gonna have an issue.
It's a,
Or I don't know what public parking, like if during the evenings, if people can park there, right? If you have a guest, because it is a public parking lot back
Right.
there.
so can they use it if it's a public parking lot for like residential?
I don't like for guests. I don't know if it can be an additional guest parking. I can look into that. I don't, but there will be 8 specifically designated for residential that will only be able to be used for the apartments.
Because my concern is there are so many businesses in that area.
Mm.
All of the customers are using that parking lot, so it's crowded as is. On top of that, now they're gonna take away 8 spots to give them to the owners, purchasing the apartments, so it's gonna be even.
Plus all the additional development that's going down in that general area with, is it the Walpole, is it called Walpole Village? No, Walpole something? Where the Y used to be.
Yeah.
That's something Liberty Station.
That's pretty big.
That's called Liberty Station.
With that and the other developments down there, parking and traffic, I think, are going to become an issue.
Yeah. It's
Oh, what their company guests can do is just take the train in from Boston.
There you go. There you go.
So I guess
All right, then
they received a waiver for parking, actually.
They did?
Oh.
Okay, well, then we'll entertain a motion then on the special permit for 979 Main Street.
I can make a motion regarding 979 Main Street. The Board of Health reiterates the comments previously made on August 18th.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to add the reminder that trash and recycling would be private and their responsibility.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, 4-0-0. And then we have a special permit for 524 Elm Street. They're adding a garage.
Yes, and so this property is on septic. However, we unfortunately don't have any plans for the system, but it is built for a 3-bedroom. So it would just be that they don't add any additional living space onto the garage, on top of the garage, so that they don't increase the number of bedrooms, and that when they do construct it, that they make sure to flag the system.
Gotcha.
And if they do that, if they create a plan of where the system is, they can always submit a copy to our office.
Gotcha. All right. We'd like to make a motion on that one.
Yeah, that's right. You make a motion, then I can speak.
Sure.
But even before we make a motion, I live 2 houses up from them, and my neighbor next door to them, her last name is Johnson also, and she is concerned that the garage is going to be so close to the property line, and therefore that much closer to her house. It is a garage. No one's living in a garage, but she is concerned about that, and I just wanted to express her concern.
They would have to meet setback requirements. I don't know if it's setback on the plan making.
You mean a setback from the street or a setback from the property
Well,
line?
there's property line setbacks also.
Right.
It's right on the property line. It's even 5 feet. It was 5.8 feet. Is that enough? I don't think so.
But if
Yeah,
that's, if their property line, we can't stop them, right?
Well, the zoning board would have to grant a variance to allow them to build a garage within, if it's too close to the property line.
Is it too close to the property line?
Well, I don't know.
Special permit, Rika, does it say the setback allowed or setback being requested?
I'm just looking.
I don't remember seeing it, but
I'm looking at their application right now.
So it's 10, the setback requirement is 10 feet from the rear and 6 feet from the side of the property line.
Oh yeah, so you are correct. So I'm looking at the application again. Yep, and so it would normally be a 25-foot setback is required.
Oh. So that is,
a setback from the street. What are we talking about setback? Setback from the street.
From the
that
property
right?
line, right, Rika?
It just yeah, from the property line.
From the property line, Kara.
So it's 25 feet from the property line.
They don't need a special permit, they need a variance. That's kind of void.
I can't hear what's we're talking.
So the requirement is 6 feet for the from the side to side, and then 10 feet from the front and back.
Okay. I believe 10 feet is no issue. I mean, but my neighbor next door is concerned that the garage is going to be so close to her property line. But if it's 6 feet and it's almost 6 feet, that would just require a variance of, a few inches or something. So that's not a big whoop then.
I'm kind of confused. So 25 feet, that's the requirements, the set requirements, like from the street?
So the front yard setback, it looks like for the minimum zoning requirements for a rural area, the front yard setback is 30 feet, side yard setback 25, and rear yard is 30 on the plan.
So they're nowhere close to that. They're too close to their neighbors, right?
That's why they don't have a variance.
Right, and so the application says they're looking for
neighbor
a
has to
special
approach-
permit, but
For this?
Jen just called down to building, and they also need a variance request.
They need a variance, okay.
And
Okay,
for
so
the variance, will they have to contact my neighbor next door?
So should we get the variance first, or? I mean, or should we grant the special permit based contingent on getting a variance?
We're not making any grant of a permit. We're just making comments.
So you'll make comments to the ZBA. So it's the ZBA that will, the zoning board that will see this.
So
And they're looking for our comments.
would our comments be a concern that the garage is too close to the property line?
Maybe very close instead of the word two.
I mean, from a health board perspective, it doesn't seem like there's any issues with putting the garage there. It's strictly a zoning question.
The concern that we would have is there's just their septic system that obviously it's noted and flagged.
Right, but I mean,
Mike, we have a guest on the line, Mike Yanovich, our building commissioner.
hey, Mike, how are you? Thanks for joining.
All right. So I hear there's some zoning questions on a garage with the Board of Health. Is it a septic system issue?
Well, from a septic standpoint, the issue would simply be that the system be flagged and, the construction not interfere with that. The question is that they're looking for a special permit, and whether or not the Board of Health needs to make any comment about the fact that where the garage is going to be located is too close to the property line. But that seems to me anyway to be a zoning board issue in terms of a variance for building it where they want to build it.
Correct. Yeah. So that is covered under Mass General Law 48, which governs zoning, which is the enabling act for our zoning bylaw. So they'll go to the zoning board, and the zoning board will weigh the statutory requirements under Mass General Law 48 as to whether or not they meet a variance. So variance is statutorial. The zoning board is the only board that can weigh in on a variance. They meet the statutory.
So from our perspective, we just need to concern ourselves with making sure that the garage isn't going to interfere with the septic system, and that the septic system be flagged appropriately prior to any construction that might take place.
Yes,
And that the addition will increase the number of bedrooms.
Right. That the garage be simply a garage and not have any bedroom space above it. But after that, it becomes the ZBA's issue in terms of where it's physically located in relationship to the property line.
Correct. So they need to draw a nexus between the relief that's sought and the location of the garage, which if, there were a recommendation by, the Board of Health to push it closer to the lot line because it's too close to the septic system, obviously that would be a hardship that the applicant could take to the zoning board.
Mm-hmm.
It is practical for the Board of Health to weigh in on the location if it is in fact too close or if it affects the location of the septic systems.
But the actual permission to actually go ahead and build the garage is going to be dependent on getting a variance from the ZBA.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for clarifying that for us, Mike. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
No problem.
Before are there any other questions?
I don't have any, but anyone on the board have any questions for Mike while he's here? No? Well, we appreciate your expertise. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Very much.
All right, so it would seem then that from our perspective, we are concerned with really only two things. One is that the garage is just a garage. I suppose they could have a bonus room up above, but they can't make it into a bedroom. And that the construction, or prior to construction, if it's approved, they'll have to flag the septic system and make sure that the location of the garage is not going to interfere with that. I don't think I would go further to say that we might ask them to move the garage and create a hardship for them. I think we just need to have them flag it and then you're up from there if it's an issue. Does that make sense?
Should we contingent on getting a variance from the zoning board?
I don't think we have to, because they're going to have to do that.
Process.
Yeah. I mean, I think our comments aren't going to be contingent on that. The variance is either going to be granted or not.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion then regarding the special permit at 524 Elm Street, that the Board of Health notes that construction of the garage, or prior to construction of the garage, if it is granted, or if it's approved, is going to require the flagging of any septic system and review by the health department to make sure that that construction is not going to interfere with it, and that the additional space be restricted to that of being a garage and or non-bedroom space, or that they cannot use any part of the new garage to be converted into a bedroom.
Okay, I'll say.
Okay.
Motion is made and seconded. Do I hear any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0-0. Anything else that we need to deal with before we get into other business?
No.
Okay. We have a flu clinic coming up, a drive-by or drive-through, drive-in, a drive-by flu clinic.
Yeah, so sorry to inundate you with information, but I wanted to pass along the volunteer information packet. So as you know, this is definitely new to us this year. Typically, I know a lot of you have helped out in the years past. We do it up at the high school. It's an in-person, inside the building clinic. This year, we are looking to do a drive-through clinic. It'll be at Stonefield behind Town Hall. As you see in the volunteer packet, you can kind of see the flow of the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
It will start the entrance. It's one entrance on Stone Street and one exit exiting School Street. The police will help us with traffic control. Like I referenced, it is by registration only, so we should be limiting the number of cars in the parking lot at one point in time. The meeting pretty much weekly regarding the clinic. So as you know, things come up on a weekly basis. We'll be like, oh, what about this? What about that? So we're trying to incorporate it in. We do have our regional coordinator who will be present at the clinic. So I think his eyes on the event will be very helpful to kind of let us know things that maybe we weren't aware of or things that we can change for future clinics. But I feel pretty confident with the flow of this. Thanks to Trisha's help, we've had a lot of response from our volunteers. So that's our MRC as well as our CERT volunteers. That's non-medical as well as medical volunteers. So we do have a really good base of volunteers. If anyone's interested in volunteering, we definitely would welcome the assistance.
Well, I see that you're continuing your trend of scheduling things when I'm not going to be around. So thang you so much for doing that.
Don't do that on purpose, though.
I'm not so sure there, Melissa. I'm not so sure. We're going to be away on the Cape for a long weekend. But no, the diagrams and the flow. I mean, it looks to be as good as can be done given all of the stuff that's going on. It'll be interesting to see how easy or difficult it is to do flu shots for people sitting in their cars.
Well, it is actually, so it will, not to scare people away, because if you don't feel comfortable with getting it in your vehicle, there'll be 6 tents set up on the field.
Oh, okay, so you can get out.
To pull your car in, get vaccinated in your car if you like that method, and if you prefer or need additional assistance, you are able to get out of your vehicle, go underneath the tent and get vaccinated that way as well.
Well, no, I think we all have to adapt to what's going on in the world, and this looks to be as good a procedure as can be put down on paper. You're absolutely right. Until you actually go through it and you see how it works, or where where any issues might be. But I think. It's certainly extremely important this year that everybody get a flu shot. We'll be doing more than one clinic, depending on how the
So depending on our supply, obviously. So Trish just let us know before the meeting that we actually, so the link went live for Eventbrite yesterday morning, and we already have 100 people registered to receive vaccines.
Wow.
So that's very, very good, a little over 24 hours.
How many vaccine or how many doses do we have?
So we have so many allotted. So through the state, we have 190, and then we have 250 total, and that includes high dose as well as regular. flu vaccine. So like I think I mentioned, this year's a little different. In years past, we've always partnered with Walgreens, Rite Aid. This year, having Trish in the public health position, we were able to purchase our own vaccine. It allows us a little bit of freedom where in the past we would only be allowed to have the pharmacist from Rite Aid administer the vaccine. In this case, with us overseeing it, Trish can have her MRC volunteers. In additional, the school nurses are helping and they can vaccinate. So I know in years past, I know Bill, you've helped out, Mona, Dean and Carol, you've seen like bottlenecks because of the state vaccine was administered by the school nurses where the regular vaccine and high dose had to be administered by Walgreens. That's not the case this year. We can administer for everyone. Obviously, though, with that, there's an upfront cost to pay for the vaccine. And then after the vaccine is administered, we would get reimbursement and be able to bill for all of them. So this is somewhat of a startup year for us to see how many vaccines we need. And then obviously moving forward, we would be able to purchase more.
So 250 doses total at the moment? Is there?
And then 190 for 18 and under.
Okay, so 190 for 18 and under and 250 for everyone else?
Correct.
Okay.
So are we gonna automatically give the high dose to people 65 and older?
So no, so on the registration, there's two different ways to register. The links are on our Facebook page as well as the town website. When you click on the link for it's through Eventbrite, if you're familiar with it, you're given the option of a time slot. So there are time slots required to choose, and then you scroll down and then you actually pick what vaccine you're looking to get. So it would be a state vaccine, which is 18 and under, a regular dose, or a 65 plus high dose. So we are giving the option for individuals to pick it. And then once the allotment has been sent down, it would gray out and it wouldn't allow that to be an option anymore. So individuals, unfortunately, wouldn't be able to get that.
And is there an opportunity for us to get more doses if we go through that allotment?
I definitely think it is. The fortunate part is we're early in the season. As you know, I mean, in the past, we've done it late October, early November. With this, we're October 3rd. So depending on vaccine supply, I don't see that being, an issue and potentially being an option if we have a good turnout.
Okay, excellent.
I mean, everyone else, like Walgreens, CVS, they've already started their flu clinics like a couple of weeks ago. So they're not.
So we actually did a staff clinic 2 weeks ago and had a really, really good turnout. That actually, we did enlist the help of Walgreens. So they were actually able to come on site and we were able to vaccinate a good amount of our school staff as well as our town staff. So that helped out a lot.
Okay. That's good. And I know people can walk in now. CVS is advertising for free flu clinic, flu shots. So anyone can go get it at a local CVS if we didn't have enough for everyone for the private,
Sure.
fees.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I wish you the very best of luck and on this. It'll be interesting to see the recap on it as to how it all went. And then we have Mrc Newsletter.
Yes, so this is, I think I told you about it over the summer when Kelsey, our intern, was with us. So she did an awesome job. I really like the layout of it. We're kind of like with the whole wave of electronic. So we sent them out via email to our MRC volunteers. That being said, individuals that don't have email addresses, we are still mailing them hard copy. So I think it's nice. It's a nice template. It's new, it's vibrant, and we'll plan to use it. We normally do a fall and a spring newsletter.
All right. Anything else that the board needs to be involved in this evening?
No, I don't believe so.
Do we know actually for the flu clinics, do we know which vaccinations we're going to be getting, like the flu zone, like every year, or we don't know yet what brand for the vaccinations?
We do. For the privately purchased, we have the flu zone and then the high dose. And then for the state, it's actually the Fluvizol, the GlaxoSmithKline, because Sanofi had too much of a delay getting the vaccine through the state. So we switched over on that one.
So are we going to pre-filled syringes, or are we going to just
it's broken up. So the high dose is pre-filled syringes, state supply is pre-filled syringes, and then The flu zone that we privately purchased is going to be the single dose vial draw ups.
Oh, okay. So you just have to drop in a syringe administer. Okay.
Okay, great. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll move. So moved.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll see you on the, 13th of October? Is that right?
That is correct. Yep, the second Tuesday.
10/13, all right. And maybe by then we'll have some guidance from the state on Halloween, which I think is not going to happen. Or, well, Halloween will, but trick or treat might not. All right, so thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of the first day of fall. Hard to believe, but fall is here, and we'll see you on the 13th. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Great.